year is 2149. 9 years have passed since the end of the Great Conflict, which ended with the use of chemical weapons. Lakes and rivers have dried up, governments have collapsed. Only those who were lucky enough to be in bunkers, shelters survived. A young man named Darwin lives in a cement module where there is only a computer that replaces everything. Doctors, teachers, communication. Although Darwin sends communication every day to his mother, who lives in another bunker. However, she has not been in touch for a long time. So on this, an ordinary day for a man, he carries out his morning procedures and gets down to work, which consists of digging a huge pit. Carrying out the decision of the world government, Darwin remotely controls a huge bulldozer, extracting rare minerals from which more advanced bunkers are made. The guy works all day with breaks for tasteless, freeze-dried food, which he orders for delivery. Periodically, people are informed that the air is still polluted and it is unsafe to live on the surface of the planet, so their only entertainment is computer games. With each passing day, Darwin feels like he is forgetting his old life, and the meaningless work is destroying him. He tries to contact his mother bunker again, but the AI voice tells him that she is in hibernation. He also lowers the seat and goes to bed. He remembers his father who left long before the bombs fell, leaving his mother with a choice: to stay together and try to avoid death from the poisonous air, or to separate and survive in the bunker in complete safety. She decided to do everything so that her son could live, and when the bunker became too small for both of them, she left. A new day comes, and Darwin again takes hold of the bulldozer levers. And suddenly he hears a dog barking from the forest and notices a man disappearing behind the trees. And I immediately orders to resume work, and he returns to work, periodically examining the surroundings. The checking neural network does not like this, and it threatens the guy with a replacement. However, he asks not to do this and promises to work properly. One night during a severe thunderstorm, lightning strikes Darwin's module, destroying his computer. The guy tries to call for emergency help, but no one comes. Soon everything turns off except the air purification system, but there comes a time when it also breaks down. He understands that he is forced to go outside. His legs do not obey him well, and the guy tries to return to the bunker, but there is no electricity and the doors do not close. The oxygen supply in his mask is running out. He inhales the air coming from the street and understands that he can breathe freely. And suddenly the thought occurs to the guy that his mother could have realized long ago that the air is not poisoned and therefore left the bunker. And for the same reason, she did not answer his calls, and perhaps she needs his help. Darwin sets off on his way, although for the last 9 years he has not gone out at all. He tries to contact his mother again from the external terminal, but she does not answer. He walks through a once inhabited place, passing the remains of a large plant, crosses the wasteland left in the place of the city, and suddenly hears a familiar bark. He is not sure of their reality, but he feels hope for salvation and goes in that direction. Soon the boy enters a forest where he is attacked by midges, which he has never seen before. He spends the night lying on the ground, and in the morning he hears barking and sees a girl with a dog under a tree. She calls out to him, but Darwin has forgotten how to speak. They leave, but he gathers his strength and follows them. Meanwhile, the girl runs to a house in the forest where she is met by a woman and 3 teenagers. But seeing her daughter's worried face, the mother orders everyone to hide. The girl tells about a strange guy who does not seem to be able to speak, and the two of them meet a traveler who is also scared and remains sitting on a stone nearby. Everyone sits down to eat, and the woman asks her daughter to take bread to the stranger. Darwin eats this food with appetite, and then the girl brings him a cup of drink and invites him to move closer to the table. Darwin eats everything that is given to him, and after dinner the woman introduces herself. Her name is Lillian, the eldest daughter, with whom Darwin is already familiar, Dara. But the guy shows that he can only communicate by typing on the computer, although he understands words. Lillian is glad that he liked the dinner and invites the guy to stay the night with them because she sees how weak he is. Noticing that he hesitates, she offers to make a bed for him outside so that he can run away if he suddenly gets scared. Darwin agrees to this option, but at night he cannot fall asleep because he has not seen people for 9 years and has not spoken for the same amount of time. Therefore, he swore to himself that this stop would be temporary. In the morning, he sees Dara hanging out the washed laundry and watches her for a long time. And then Lillian calls everyone for breakfast, and Darwin sits down at the table. He is surprised by the tea and honey, which he has never eaten. The woman asks him to put his hands on the table and imagine that there is a keyboard in front of him. Stephen puts his fingers on his hands, closes his eyes, and reads Darwin's message in which he talks about his bunker and about the lightning that destroyed his computer and the panic button. The boy introduces himself, and the whole family greets him in turn, saying his name. Later, he watches children playing tag. Dara brings him sunscreen because his skin is not used to sunlight at all and has already started to turn red, and smears it on his face. In the evening, the boy tries to find out what happened to his mother, but people have not seen her and do not know anything. Darwin thought that she would contact the authorities and come to save him, but she did not return. Dara suggests that the boy sleep, and if he wants to go to her, they do not intend to interfere with him. The boy falls asleep and sees in a dream how he comes to his mother's bunker, but a drone catches up with him, which scans the boy, surprised that he can talk. He illegally left his workplace and was absent for 23 days, for which he will be punished. Darwin wakes up screaming, and immediately a girl comes out to him and calms the boy down. One day he accidentally got into the shower and got very scared. Then Dara showed him how to use it, and Lillian brought him old clothes. If he hasn't washed himself all these years, I wonder what the bunker smells like. Dara begins to teach him to communicate, first with gestures and then with words. Gradually, Darwin becomes attached to the girl. The family kindly laughs at his attempts to speak, but the boy does not give up on his studies and continues to study with even greater enthusiasm. He really likes to live like this, simply, cheerfully, taking care of each other. One day, everyone starts having fun and Dara teaches the boy to dance, which he basically succeeds in. Once she tells about her father, who was very kind and cheerful, but he went to live by the ocean, where many people live. Darwin knows that this is a new government policy to send people to different places, helping to populate the earth. One day, the middle sister named Beth suddenly tells their mother that the guy's dangerous for them because the police will come looking for the fugitive, but Lillian assures them that no one will find them. Darwin admits that the girl is right, although Lillian claims that they are deep in the valley and surrounded by forest, so no one will definitely be able to find them. Sometime later, the family goes to the nearest river to have a picnic. They play and swim, and then Dara and Darwin relax on a huge boulder on the bank. The girl talks about the old days when couples stayed together until old age. The guy really likes this idea. It turns out that Stephen is also adopted. He found them in the forest as if he understood that this is his place. And Darwin also considers his arrival an uneasy coincidence. He talks about his work and that he saw her once. So he came because he was looking for her. And then the girl confesses her love to him, and the couple kisses for the first time. In the evening, the family goes home. On the way, Beth teases first Darwin and then Stephen, and does not notice that she loses her scarf, which hangs on a bush in the middle of the concrete road. As soon as the people leave, a police drone hovers over the scarf, which immediately begins to examine the surroundings. People hide between the rocks and manage to trick the machine, but now they need to be very careful and constantly watch the sky. Beth has a real hysteria about this, but Lillian asks everyone to calm down and sit in the camp for now. One day, Darwin confesses to Dara that he has to leave because he cannot put them at risk, because if they are found, they will be separated and forced to live in a world that she does not like. The girl cries because she always knew that the man was leaving. Darwin assures her that he does not want to do this, but she does not believe her, because it is common for men to abandon their loved ones. Nevertheless, the guy's getting ready to go. He wants to find the same house in the forest and settle his mother there to show her what life is like. The family says goodbye to him, but Dara hides in the forest and does not come out. At the same time, she sees off her beloved from afar and mourns their failed life. Darwin goes to his mother's bunker because he knows where it is. The guy remembers these places he saw as a child and regrets that everything has changed so much. One day, he almost gets caught by a police drone, but manages to hide. And finally, the guy gets to the right point. From the communication station, he tries to contact his mother so that she will open the door for him, but the woman rejects the request. Darwin tries again and again, and the woman finally answers. She is surprised that her son is alive and does not understand why he came, but he only asked her to open the door. But when he arrives, the doors remain locked, and then the drone finally detects the guy. At his request, Darwin gives his code. The drone knows that the guy left the shelter many days ago and demands to know where he has been all this time. The guy lies that he was in his mother's bunker and thought that she reported it to the authorities. His mother turned on the emergency button because she thought someone was trying to get inside. So he went out to check the situation. And by the way, the air outside is actually normal. While Darwin is having this conversation, users sitting in the bunkers can see and hear everything that is happening, and many are getting interested. The drone records a false call, asks not to do it, and flies away. Darwin returns to the door and convinces his mother to let him in. The woman opens it, and once inside, the guy is convinced that his mother has practically gone crazy, constantly playing games. He asks her to come with him, but she cannot tear herself away from the monitor. Nevertheless, Darwin enters the network, sending a request to the world government, and suddenly finds out that it has not existed for a long time. Darwin gets access to the archive, including the video surveillance system. He sees himself leaving the bunker, tracks his path, and even his family walking. It turns out that all this time they were in sight, but no one came for them, which means there is no one to come, and no one is watching people. Darwin says goodbye to his mother when she comes to her senses for a minute. The guy says that he reached heaven and strokes her head, and she suddenly feels his warmth. However, after leaving, she takes up the mouse again because she doesn't know how to live differently. And it turns out that she is not alone. After the collapse of the government, thousands of people remained in bunkers because they were afraid to go outside. But now they have seen that it is possible to live differently. Many began to refuse meaningless work, realizing that they were controlled by other machines. And Darwin returns to the stone by the river, where he finds Dara and says that not all men leave forever, and the girl kisses him. Lillian smiles, watching the young people, and the guy thinks with horror what would have happened if he had sat in his bunker, afraid to go out into the world. After all, then he would not have met the best woman in the world, his future wife Dara.